Hey everybody, welcome to Guided Listening. I'm Jeff Antoniuk here from Jazzwire. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for all the people that reach out to me pretty much every week telling me how much they value the guided listening videos, the J&J videos, and then the series before it, 200 videos of digging deeper jazz. I'm so happy all of that stuff lives on. And for those of you that tune in every Friday, thank you, much appreciated. Please subscribe and please share these videos with people that you think would care and get something from them. That would be fantastic. So we're going to be listening to Joe Henderson playing the Antonio Carlos Jobim song, Once I Loved. And this is from his album, Double Rainbow, the music of Antonio Carlos Jobim from 1995. I remember vividly when this one came out. Fantastic album. Before we jump in, just as an update, next week, the Jazzwire Summer Summit, our 21st year in a row of doing this. We have about 75 participants coming from around the world. And I mean like really around the world. All over the United States and Canada, but from Europe, from Australia, from New Zealand. Like people on literally the other side of the planet are making their way to join us, which is incredible. All of these 75 people are members of Jazzwire. We've been working together before the workshop. We'll be working together afterward. We have 10 faculty and 5 staff, like 90 of us getting together to hang out and play and jam and have a great time with this music. So if this is something that's interesting for you, maybe start thinking about planning for 2025. The spots go quickly. We're at the point where we sell out every year. So be thinking about next July. I'll be giving you the date shortly. Okay, so let's jump into this. So a lovely, lovely song, one that we're going to be focusing on at the Summer Summit. And this particular recording or arrangement is just duo. It's Joe Henderson on tenor sax and Oscar Castro-Neves. I hope I'm saying the name correct, Oscar, on guitar. Fantastic Brazilian guitar player. And so we'll listen and hear, but it's the form of the song is sort of interesting when you look at it in a fake book or the real book or wherever you have it. And they kind of mess with it a little bit even there, kind of chopping some measures out. It took me a number of listens to figure out what's going on, but there's a couple times when they take the last 4 off the end of the form, what I know the form to be, what I've played on gigs many times. So I'm not sure if that was just an arrangement thing in the studio or if other Brazilian musicians that I'm unfamiliar with do it that way. Not sure. I would love to ask the producer or Joe or Oscar, like, what was that about? Kind of interesting. A bossa nova from Brazil, country of Brazil, a style from Brazil. Typically, bossa novas are at 120 on the metronome. They're kind of set. They're slower bossa novas, and they're slightly faster bossa novas. But when they start getting much faster, we just start calling it a samba, more or less. That's a generalization, but I've talked to a lot of Brazilians so that I don't get yelled at by other Brazilians. Like, dude, what's the difference between a bossa and a samba? And usually they go, tempo. Okay, cool. So, so this is interesting because it's slow. It's much slower than usual. It's at about 100, but then it's played with a double time feel, which makes it seem faster than usual. So the feel is a samba kind of feel, even as the song itself is going by in slow motion. It's pretty cool. So just for those of us to understand that the tempo of a song isn't the feel of the song. Those are two different things. Tempo and feel are different, right? So this tempo could be a slow ballad. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second measure. And sure, that could be an actual feel. Like those could be quarter notes that I was counting and we'd be an 8/4 or something. So it's possible. I've seen it. Or it could be the feel. A double time feel. It feels like it's going by twice as fast, but it's not. So that's a whole thing for us listeners to be aware of, that very often the tempo and the feel are the same thing. But there's a lot we can do. And I don't care what it is you've listened to, whether it's, you know, jazz or rock or orchestral music or orange juice ads on TV. You've heard halftime feels and double time feels. You just maybe didn't know it. So let's jump into this, and you'll get a sense of what I'm talking about. So the last 4 measures of the song as an intro, out of time. And there's our time. And there's the quarter notes. If you're following the lead sheet, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next measure. Next measure. But listen to the guitar. So he's playing 16th note figures. Not straight solid 16ths, but his rhythms are picked from 16ths, and it's close to solid 16ths. So a slow tempo and a fast feel. And so listen to Joe's playing over that. He's kind of on the fence in a cool way. Like he's singing the long notes, but then he's doing things to connect to the guitar feel, right? So he's not just playing it as written. He's aware he's in the room with another musician, and that feel is informing his rhythmic decisions. So there's an instance of a long note over top. So there he's connecting with the accompaniment with 16th notes. He's interpreting the whole note and putting 16th rhythms in there. So it's pretty slick. Okay, so into the solo. And they had chopped 4 measures off the form there. So the top of the solo started 4 measures before I expected. I had to listen to that a bunch, but that's what they did. At the end of the form, what I know the form to be, they chopped 4 measures off. So this is the end of the first A section. Here comes the second A. 2, 3, 4, second measure. So listen to Joe's rhythmic choices. So he's really in the mix with Oscar, right? So Joe's definitely thinking, as I was singing, he was playing 16ths there. And even the long notes, he's phrasing everything inside that 16th double time feel. 5, almost 6 times he played that cool rhythmic idea. Motivic playing, certainly, but a way to connect. This is just a duo, right? So, man, the rhythm that's going on behind Joe from the guitar is intense, but Joe's not just floating over top. He's in the mix. So now, this style of guitar playing. I reached out to Steve Herberman, one of the JazzWire faculty, asking about this style of guitar playing. It's a neat moment there where Joe is building, kind of came back, and the accompaniment followed. So it's not just that the guitar playing is a machine doing a repetitive rhythm and Joe soloing over top. They're really interacting in an interesting way. So this style of guitar playing, I know this as samba guitar. So, you know, is there a special term for it? Experts will know more than me. But Steve was talking about how this is definitely coming from a great guitarist in Brazil named Baden Powell. definitely recurring things that's going on there. So does it boil down to 2 or 3 or 4 rhythms? It's not 20, I don't think. It's not 20 different rhythms. I think there will be some really set kind of rhythms that he's improvising the accompaniment within. So obviously stop the time. We have this cool roll on the guitar and Joe trilling, as he often likes to do on a lot of tunes. All right. What a great duo recording. And there's lots of instances of Joe playing duo with drums or with bass or here with guitar. And, you know, for entire chunks of his career, he played trio with bass, drums, and saxophone. So he liked toying around with instrumentations, or his producers did, certainly. And Joe is playing so much horn. There's so much harmonic and rhythmic content to his melodies that, like, in a way, lots of times when there's somebody accompanying him, there's maybe not a lot of room for them, or when they accompany, it's sort of combating Joe. Like for a while, Joe was playing with Chick Corea or vice versa. And like, it was fascinating to hear those guys rhythmically get into it. But like, to me, I kind of like hearing Joe with the trio or a duo, because he's able to kind of do his thing and not have to navigate another kind of rhythmic harmonic player. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. So that's a big deal with this tune, that idea that the song was going by slowly, sort of a slow pace, and then the double time samba feel over top. And for guitar players, like, oh my gosh, like that should be inspirational to get your head around sort of that bossa nova technique or samba technique. And I'd say, if that's something you're interested in, for guitarists, there are the set bossa nova patterns that you would start with a good guitar teacher. And the typical voicings in the sweet spot of the guitar. This is all very, very codified, right? And then when it comes to samba, so yes, some pretty intense technique there. But again, there's going to be the repeated rhythms that we start with, and then you improvise around those, as a good samba drummer does, as a good samba vocalist does. So really cool tunes, some really interesting approach to the form, and then how they truncated the form a couple times in the solos. So, but yeah, I'm kind of interested in that. I'm going to be asking some of my Brazilian friends who are expert in this stuff if that's typical, or for whatever reason they did it in the recording session. So we'll see. Well, so for those of you 90 or so people that I'm going to see traveling around the world, coming here to the Washington, D.C. area next week, so excited to get to work with you. It's going to be a blast. And for the rest of you, I would love to have an opportunity to work with you inside Jazzwire. So, of course, to get the free trial and see what we do behind the paywall there. And then, most importantly, to work together in person. So I want you thinking about late July in 2025. We'll be announcing those dates shortly. Have a great week, and see you next time.